Mark in the count. The swing arm now coming back as our countdown continues.
Good afternoon, everybody. How's it going? I am joined today by Thanos Copter, who, if you read the description in the sort of video post or whatever, today is actually the 51st episode of the Brick Something News. And this guy next to me, I always get that. Yeah, there you go. This guy next to me, the Thanos Copter, was the guy who kind of pushed me to actually do this regularly. I did a couple of them, and he was like, "Hey, man, when are those coming back? When are those coming back?" And I was like, "All right, I guess they're coming back." And so I started doing them weekly with a co-host, and he was co-host number 1. So it just seemed appropriate to have you here today, Thanos, as the co-host for episode 51. What's going on, man?
Glad to be back. I enjoy your news, man. You're just showing off like all the cool stuff. So
right on. Yeah, no, it's just, this is kind of what I do anyways, right? That's who it was like sending you guys links all the time in the Clubhouse chat. It's like, hey, check this out, and seeing what you guys have, and I dig it. So I'm glad, and I appreciate you pushing me to do this, because it's been my regular thing on the channel, and it's been really helpful to have. So, and Thanos, if you don't know, is always in the chat and helping me out, dropping in the links during the lives and everything. So
not today.
Not today. We're hanging out today. What's that?
Use the QR code.
Yeah, perfect timing. Use the link down here or the QR code. I'll have the QR code up every now and then, but it looks like, I think this. Yeah, that's what it looks like. So it'll be there at different points as we go through. And what else? It'll be there during the replay or the whatever. You know how this whole YouTube thing goes. And then you'll see that link down there, and you can go to that and you can kind of follow along with us, because at the end of the day, like, it's one thing for us to just blah, blah, blah about stuff. But man, I like to see stuff. I like to know where I can maybe pre-order, get more information, and also just to like signal boost stuff if we're talking about other people's accounts and whatnot. So today, actually before that, I'm curious, the shirt. Would you mind? Hey.
Cobweb Collector linked me this shirt a couple weeks ago. I ordered it off Etsy. And it's Thanos, Master of the Universe.
Oh, so that's like has nothing to do with your thing. Somebody else made a Thanos. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I was like, well, I have to get it. So
I love it. Cool. That's perfect. All right, man. Today, I have a sense of what you're into, and so we do have a little bit of that show that you and I kind of planned out to talk about something that we're both into. You more so than I. I'm just into like, ooh, cool toys, and that's some World of Warcraft goodness. So we'll get there, but there's also a bunch of like Needless Ephemera that you and I both saw this week that we're gonna sort of talk through. So let's get to it after we say hello to the chat. Ray Paz was here like super early, like an hour early. What's going on, man? Maybe because like we were just talking about, there was no highly articulated today, and I'm not sure why. I was looking for it. So I think people had a little bit of gap in their YouTube scheduling. And I 100% agree with Josh Brown. The happiest of Sundays is when Monday is a holiday. Yeah, man, which is why I think both of us have plans tonight to like enjoy. Well, actually, I take that back. Speaking for myself, because your boss sucks. I said that. He didn't.
My boss sucks.
Okay.
I don't think he watches it, but if he does, it's a totally defensible position. So,
for the record, we got the knives out already, in ready for Tuesday. What's going on? Hello to you, sir. Cobwebs, speaking of, look at that with a hot t-shirt recommendations. What's up, Cobb? We got Rick Jones. Hello, hello. I saw Rick earlier. What chat were we in, Rick? We were in somebody's chat. Oh, my wife is going to kill me. That was dope. Totally off topic, but those Armies of Ashmore figures are looking cool. Carol, guys, hello to you. Good to see you. And let's go ahead and get into it. Episode 51. Lots of little landmarks this week. That and like 1,000 subs, which is also dope for the channel.
It's good.
Good stuff. All right. Let us use not the Force. I'm channeling some Professor X. Oh, look at that. Oh, fake fan, actually. Sorry. Stupid. Professor X, telepath. Jean Grey, telekinetic. Anyways, let's move on because that's too much information for X-Men 97 style storytelling, but that's for another thing. Let's move on. Let's start with the scene, friend. Let's get right into some toys. This is a beautiful, beautiful Jack Kirby-esque Superpowers, if you remember from the Kennerline style, Darkseid, complete with like omega beams coming out of his eyes, by McFarlane. When I had this up earlier, your instant reaction was, "Oh, that's cool."
Yeah, it is cool. I like the classic versions of the characters more than like when they do the modern stuff. So those are the ones I tend to get out of McFarlane.
Yep.
So I really cherry pick the multiverse stuff. But...
Me too, and especially because I've got kind of this. It's a broad aesthetic, but it's still an aesthetic. I'm looking over at my toys, and they all look like basically Kirby's vision for New Gods, right? And Apocalypse, LIPS, just like sci-fi with some sort of barbarian or maybe even feudal age, middle ages kind of thing mashed up. And so this guy would totally fit in. So I look for the classic stuff or just like anything that would fit on the shelf. And this guy's a done deal. But you know what? I don't actually, what trips me out is we've got this guy here. And if you look at the sort of size in his hand, that's probably about the size of a regular McFarlane, right? Bigger than maybe 7 inches, maybe about 7.5 because he's a bigger figure. But like that Calabac, which I wanted based on the designs. Do you remember him a little bit ago?
I don't think I saw it.
Yeah. Okay. Because that Calabac was like beautiful but it's huge. It's one of his like mega sort of figures. I don't know if that makes sense, but they're like
I have like the Necrons that size. And,
yeah.
There's a couple of them.
Or like the Swamp Thing, which I have. They're big figures. And so here, let me go ahead and do this and this. So this was that Calabac. I did see that, yeah. Which is like perfect for this, except he's gigantic. So if they could shrink this guy down, I would love to have him along with this style. Even though this one is definitely a little bit more new and updated, I think it still skews close to that the spirit of Kirby's work. But anyway, I think these are great. I'm liking the sort of soft goods. I've been surprised by some of the McFarlane soft goods I've been getting, namely the Dune ones. I don't know if that's like unique to the license and they have a little bit more budget or what, but those were pretty good.
I know like some of the newer multiverse stuff has had like wired capes and stuff like those at Superman, but I haven't picked any up that do.
And like a Batman, right? I think there's a Batman coming. But what do you think's going on with the omega beams? Do you think that's part of the head, or is that a like an insert?
I'm hoping it's an attachment. Actually, like it's cool, but I'd like to be able to remove it.
Yeah, it'd be a weird move if it wasn't. And McFarlane doesn't really do alt heads, right?
I don't think I have any that do. I'm not big on McFarlane. Like I have a few of the Green Lanterns and like Superman and the Wonder Woman. So.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I love how even the knees are working on this, and they kind of just sort of blend into his like thigh high boots. Sexy Darkseid over here. anyway, I think he's cool. I think he's going to look great. Thank you to In Pursuit of Toys, who kind of shared that and is being shown here. Folks in the chat, are you big New Gods people? This is exactly what I was wondering too. Don't know. Yeah. Rick Jones, Toddy Mac, you got me back for one. All right, real quick confession. Right before we started, I was talking trash about McFarlane because of, and that's a continuation from last night when we were on the clubhouse over on Nostradamus Toys with a whole like Marvel announcement or whatever. And so in general, I cherry pick. I know he's capable of making some good things. There's a lot that I like, and sculpts usually are pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
But some of the other decisions are like, anyways, yeah, I'm with you. He's got me for one. We got hello. We got Mary in here, or maybe not Mary. Who's behind that account? Let's see. Yeah, just like that Grodd last night. This not this guy though, right, Cobb? The Calabac was a huge figure. That Gorilla Grodd is huge too. We have Allison Troy singing the praises of olives, her favorite thing to munch on. We've got Fan again. What's going on, man? Good to see you. And Ray, yeah, yesterday we were talking about Kirby. Where's my Kirby pickup? This is my recent Kirby pickup that I'm a little bit conflicted on because size-wise, he runs a little bit small, but I don't know. So I'm still unsure
I saw
if I'm
a picture of him today. I don't know who took it, but it was Jack Kirby like drawing him, like with the little pencil, like the action figure and that action figure, and he was like drawing him into existence. It was really cool. I remember who? Yeah, the NECA Jack Kirby.
Oh, that's cool. Kind of like forced perspective.
Well, it was just kind of like he's standing there and like he had the pencil on him, like he was drawing him. Like it was a cool picture. I don't remember who did it.
Yeah. Love that. I would get this, but I don't plan on getting any other figures, so no point for me. Meaning in the line. Yeah, that's a trip. What's that?
He's good enough. You just have him. Like, cool.
See, you and I are the same, man. So like we were last night, right? Adam highly articulated very much the like, I need to have a shelf. I need to have a collection, a group. I'm just kind of like, oh, I'll take one of you. I'll take one of you, and just kind of mix them up. All sorts of different styles. I don't know. Bill saw it too.
Yeah,
was it Wade's?
I think it was.
Oh, that's funny. So shout out. Wade is the one who pushed me over to order this guy. Like he was talking about, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. You convinced me. But then I was looking at the size when I got him, and now I'm like humming and hawing a little bit. But yes, in fact, it was Wade. Yes. Cool. Actually, you know what? Let's okay.
Instagram's pretty bad for that though, because you'll see something and then it's like gone, and like finding it again is like really difficult sometimes.
I hate it. Like I'll see something cool, 2 L's, ED, yeah. And you scroll off for even a second, and then all of a sudden it replaces it with hell yeah. Just let's soak in the quick, odious goodness. Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. That was cool.
Oh man, well done. That's really cool. Yeah, so he totally convinced me to get this. There's his Friday night stream, and he was talking about it on Tuesday as well. And I'm just like, all right, I need some Kirby in my life, a little more Kirby in my life. Anyway, that was cool. Thank you. And yes, go Wade. And hello to Oz. What's up, man? Good to see you. Our host of the most. Let's switch it up. So I didn't know, you were telling me that you were like the I guess I was going to say Central California Anime Connection. Is that what it was?
I mean, I would drive from Central California down to LA and buy like bootleg VHS anime, and I would encode it and upload it to the internet and then use that to trade with people who were looking for those episodes, and I would get like other stuff. And eventually, I did like a big server on chat rooms, and people could come and like queue up downloads. I mean, it's all like I got cease and desist from a couple of people, and I stopped doing that. But
So
yeah,
you
for a
would
while,
encode what, like digital versions,
yeah,
and then upload them. So you're a pirate. Gotcha.
yeah,
Look at this
yeah, I
pirate.
was for a while, yeah. But I mean, this stuff was not available readily back then.
Yeah.
So this was
Yeah,
like
no.
late '90s, early 2000s.
100%. Like I remember that, and then even before. For me, that's why I bring this up. When I saw this, Lago posted it, and then Toy Amigos were talking about it. The 100th model in the S.H.Figuarts line is a classic Kamen Rider or Masked Rider. Like this character, as well as like the earliest Super Sentai, are like etched in my brain from being a kid and going to LA's Japantown. There was a toy store there back in the day when I was a kid called Pony Toy Go Round. There was also a bookstore, and me and my brother, we go to these stores and be like, "What is that? What is that?" Having zero idea. But then if you look at this design, it was just like, and these were all oh god, what do you call it when they're tokusatsu, dudes in suits, right, fighting dudes in monster suits, and like all of that whole thing coming out of Japan, which has a fun Marvel connection thanks to Spider-Man. But you look at these toys and these designs, and man, it's timeless, at least for me. I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm old and of a particular generation, but
I never knew about Kamen Rider until like the last couple of years when I was getting into toy photography. I would see a lot of pictures of him, but I had no idea who he was. Yeah,
Joe, I'm a sucker for this, man. The notion of like taking American style superheroes and then mixing it up with either kaiju or robots, and game over. You know, that's I was just describing my toy shelf, right? It's the mashup of like cool thing, put it together, even cooler thing. So yeah, I love this. There's a life-size Kamen Rider in a window out here, a store called Heroes Club, Art of Toy. And I mean, I always like, at least every couple of months, I go out to that neighborhood and just kind of check it out. But it's SH, dope sculpts. In this case, they're really trying to like get that a little bit more realistic style rather than a more manga style, because these were live action shows, and I dig it. The saving grace for this stuff is it's all true 112. So often, I often don't. It's tempting, but we'll see. And it's actually kind of not easy to get right now. But it's cool, and I wanted to show it. So moving on. Speaking of sort of like classics from Japan, this is like a neo-classic for me, for Brick. Ghost in the Shell. Was that one of the things that you traded in back in the day?
No, that was pretty readily available.
Yeah.
This was never a big, like, I know people love Ghost in the Shell, but it was never like, I don't know, it didn't really catch me. Like the animation looked good, I just wasn't into it.
So yeah, I guess they brought the animation here in movie form, the movie, right? And then this is actually from a series that was like the mid 2000s called Standalone Complex. So the animation was a little bit different. That's why her costume's a little bit different, and a little like people. I've seen people kind of like talk about the way she looks, but I'm assuming that some folks are maybe more familiar with the movie rather than the series, which definitely had a different budget and, you know, a different team working on it. So this captures that art, and it's going to be a dope figure with all the all the different accessories and everything. But it's Haya, and I haven't been impressed by any of the Haya I've played with, although I know people who like swear by it, especially the Joe stuff.
The Joe stuff looks good, but I haven't actually held any of the figures in my hand.
Yeah, I mean, you can see 5.7 inches. But if you know anything about Ghost in the Shell, the notion is like by this point in our future, technology is so developed that human beings can essentially move from cybernetic body to cybernetic body. They can hack into machines. There's all sorts of bionics, and she herself is one of these that is in a fully cybernetic body that can be destroyed and revived, and it's the whole ghost in the shell thing is kind of this, you know, question of like what makes us human. Is anything anyway, sorry, getting nerdy and thematic, but
I may actually rewatch it because I haven't seen it for like decades, and like I didn't like it back in the day, but I might be in a different headspace where it catches me more.
You might be, yeah, especially in this era. I think it was starting, it got big kind of in early internet, right? And then by the time, meaning early internet development in our world, right? And so as we move forward and VR becomes a thing, AI becomes more of a thing, I think the series is pretty poignant in that way. But especially when we're talking like law enforcement and what they can do with, anyway, sorry. It's a dope show. There's this whole like first arc, The Laughing Man, that like I was obsessed with. I used to like tag the little logo different places. Anyways, I think she looks great. These poses look really cool. That is a like pleather soft goods jacket, which, you know, questionable as to whether or not it'll hold up over time, but fit wise, it looks pretty damn good. And of course, the posing is pretty on point. There's like some gaps in the sculpt. I feel like your photos might go places with the major, but if you do, yeah, be mindful of the male gaze, because she's badass, man. She's really great. I think a lot of people see this sometimes, they sort of think cheesecake. You watch it, and the major is yeah, the major can handle herself. Anyways, Ghost in the Shell, there you go, by Hiya Toys. I am curious. Moving on.
I'm about halfway through the first season of this show, and I really, really like it.
So the show is Frieren. What's the full title? Is it just Frieren?
No, it's got something. I don't remember though.
Okay. So you're into, I know we've talked about Berserk, right? And which on the face of it, people sort of see, often people just sort of see, oh, cool, like dark armored knight guy. But that storytelling is pretty deep. Thematically, it's intense, right?
Yeah. It's trauma, fate, struggling, you know, letting people in, shutting people out. Like, it's such a deep story.
Yep.
Masked in, you know, violence, extreme violence,
but relevant to everything that you just mentioned, the trauma and all of that.
Yeah.
So the reason I bring that up is because that's very much like, I think like after Record of Lodoss War, it feels like, and I'm not like an anime historian, this is through my time paying attention to it in the 90s, it seemed like there was this dam that broke with like fantasy through an anime and manga lens. And so eventually we got Berserk, which was definitely like dark fantasy, dealing with all those themes that you're talking about. And then on the other end, like now it's the 21st century, we're getting Frieren, and it's like, it's fantasy. She's an elf mage, but it's all about like her processing, like what it means to exist as a essentially immortal, to see her, like the people that she's lived with live and die. And she's processing like, what is it? You know, what is your human friends like? What's their existence like? And I say all that because like, man, that is, I'm bringing it back to last night. More shade on X-Men 97. No, I just appreciate animation that really takes its time to tell a dope story and makes me think. That's all. Maybe I'm just old, but
no, the whole concept of it, of like, you know, they start off, it's the end of their campaign, and then she goes off to do her thing, and she's just like, oh, I'm kind of doing my thing, comes back, and it's like, everybody's like old or dead, you know? Like,
yep.
It's got a good, interesting hook to it right out the gates.
Totally. It's like the end of life, almost the end of their sort of their I was going to say campaign, they're adventuring, right, as a party, and then she's sort of dealing with it. So I dig it. I want to go back real quick. I'm sorry, we're all over the place, but yes, shout out to the folks who understand what I'm saying with that. Yeah, my man, 50 grand Kamen writer Kuga. The Amazing talks a lot about Kamen Rider, loves Kamen Rider, which I appreciate. And then we've got Fan again. Yeah, I'm right there with you. For some reason, it seems like us older folks really grew up on Japanese import stuff. I'm assuming this is tied to the major. Absolutely. She had some natural curves-ish. It's funny to say that because she's a cyborg.
Artificial natural.
Yeah, totally. But yes, that anime is legendary. The movie was absolutely epic, Oz. Definitely check out. I like Standalone Complex more than there was another series after, but still cool. They explored other characters. Joe Gonzalez, good to see you again. Good morning, sir. Maybe Haya will do some old anime like Akira figures or Princess Mononoke. Man, yes. I would, even if they're in the wrong scale, I'd probably buy it on those just because I'm hungry for them. Man, I need a Mononoke, like on my D20 Wolf.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. It's like, that'd be really good on that Wolf.
Yeah. And we've got Tony's Figs. What's going on, man? Good to see you, Tony. All right. But back to Frieren. So despite all that like headiness that you kind of got from us waxing philosophical there for a second, she's cool looking. She's like a great little elf mate. I say little. She's like older than everybody. Older than dirt. But cool looking mages. This is what I've loved about Japanese takes on Western tropes, like fantasy tropes. They're still like super unique in their clothing, like their tunics and everything is just so cool. The hairstyle, of course, love it. And I just love all the stuff that they bring in, like these accessories for the magic. You know, we get these in other lines, but like, look how big that thing
I'm
is.
always happy to get any kind of effects and little pieces like that.
Hell yeah.
Is she still available? Because last time I actually looked, like when I started watching the anime, I was like, oh, let me look for a toy. And it was like sold out. So
it's funny. I went to check and the page on this, as well as the Kamen Rider, it says maintenance, that it was down. So I don't know if it's still available, but well, I don't know. I'll just say I don't know. But here she is scaled next to Chainsaw Man and little baby guy Goku over here. So smaller figure for sure. But I don't know. I love looking at this stuff, even if I don't necessarily grab them. Like if I could start over, I totally would do more of an anime shelf. And yeah, I don't know. That's anyways, but I'm not starting over. So speaking of modern anime, I know I was talking to you about Kaiju #8. So when I was talking to you guys in the Clubhouse chat, this isn't
I never even heard of it.
This is sort of happening right now. It's releasing right now on Crunchyroll. I think we're on episode 4 or 5. I watched this with my kid. Super fun concept of like, you know, a future Japan where kaiju are a thing regularly and they have this defense force. And I'll just say this spoiler because it's the premise of the show. One of these guys who's like looking to join the force essentially becomes a kaiju. Sorry, spoiler alert. But it really is. It's the premise of the show, and you know, hilarity ensues, drama ensues, but this is that character, the main character, Kaiju #8, and so he's actually a bigger figure because he's meant to be big in the show. So he's like a 7.5-inch figure. I did have him on pre-order. I told you guys that I canceled the pre-order. Guess what I did as I was preparing for the show and looking at all these pictures? Yeah. So he's available right now on BBTS for pre-order, and it's $50. That's part of the thing. And yeah, for these. So for
that's one of the biggest things with the anime figures. They're usually very, very expensive.
Yeah. And so here's the you know, the sort of defense force, if you will. And man, I'm a sucker for like folks in uniform. It's like Shield or like, did you ever watch Robotech back in the day?
Oh yeah.
You remember the second one, the Robotech Masters is what they called it. Southern Cross was the original anime where they all had like armor kind of knights, but they were still uniform-ish.
Yeah.
Man, all about it. So Great show. I highly recommend it, but the figures look great. I've been looking at reviews. There are some like gappy things, but happening, but I think it looks great. And the main reason I wanted to show this figure first is because they also just announced this week that Kaiju number 9 is. So this is another character in the show, and I'll leave it vague. But it's wild, man. Check out like all the accessories, because the powers of this creature are insane. Like, it's what was that like back in the days, 90s? It was like the hentai that would play at raves. I know you know what I'm talking about. Tentacles galore. Or no, am I alone in my kink?
I mean, I might know it if I had more detail than tentacles
It was
galore, but
something Overmaster or Overlord.
I don't know.
But it totally reminds you. It's like the body horror mixed with like, you know, tentacles galore, spores galore, like weird bodily pustules and stuff. And so I love that they actually went for it in the execution of the accessories and everything. He's a weird, he's creepy and a weird looking character, period. But what I like about it, so this is where I appreciate this about this figure line, that they'll release figures in the same sort of series and give you an accessory that works with an older figure. So here you're seeing an alt head that works with that Kaiju number 8 figure, but comes with Kaiju number 9. I'm just intrigued by it. I think it would piss off a lot of American collectors if they did that with domestic stuff. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
But it's a way to keep things like refreshed, right? And it's a little bit of a reward if you are a collector.
If you don't have it, you just put it in a box and it sits there for God knows how long.
Or you find someone who does and you sell it to them, right? Or if you're Joe Gonzalez, you tell folks, hey, I don't need this. You want it? I love that last night. Man, Joe's dope.
Very
talking about you, buddy. And yeah, coming back a little bit, man, why don't we have Mononoke figs? Seriously, I do want the stag too. I
have a bunch of the little like forest spirits, like just solid glow in the dark. I ordered like a couple bags of them off of AliExpress.
Those are the little white little spirit dudes that do this.
Yeah.
What's going on, Terrence? Thank you for stopping in. Yes, this might be it. Overlord, I think that was it, but there's a little bit more. Wicked City, but thank you for saving me and not making me feel like the only weird creepy dude. Matthew, appreciate you. Kaiju number 9 does look dope and is very, in terms of like 21st century internet things. Slender Man, that's exactly what my kid said too.
I can see that.
And I love that Joe's constantly helping to keep things positive in this weird toy collector space we are in. And hello, Nolan. Good to see you, sir. Thank you for bringing the beer. Anyway, moving on. Let's move past some of the modern anime stuff and get to the stuff that doesn't quite have an anime. But let's talk kink. What's going on, man? This is, and so I'm not trying to distance myself, but this is something that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be my first snail shell. Obviously I take the pictures I take. She'll be good for that. But I like the demons. I like the little hooves. It's like a little succubus. I think she'll be fun. And she's not a bad price, like $44. That's pretty good.
For sure. I think she's great. And usually the snail shells will come with like, some of them come with mechs. Snail Shell's the one who did that pumpkin, right? The Jacqueline. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in this case, they don't have that kind of accessory for her, but they do come with an accessory kit. Would you like to share with the audience the accessory kit that Lucia?
Sexy foot pack.
Sexy foot pack for Lucia. Actually, let's take a look at her gear right here. So she's got killer heels. And so you can replace them with what kind of feet are we talking?
Well, she also has hooves. So,
yeah.
But then they gave her like regular feet too. So if you want that, and then a couple different poses for a little bit extra.
So if you want that, But this is everything you get. You get the stand, and then because you probably need them with those heels, you've got the face plates, the whip. I didn't look. Is the whip? Oh, the whip is actually maybe moldable. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be wired or if it's just gonna be. Either way, it looks like pretty good quality.
Yeah, she looks great. Like that, the hair looks cool. The horns look
Horns,
cool.
little rings through them, or a little tassel in between the boobs.
I was gonna say if the wind blows though, maybe she doesn't. Maybe that's like she's not a prude. She don't care. But Magic Book looks dope. No foot kit. Where's the foot kit? I need to see this foot kit.
It's on the 5K.
Right. So you can pre-order this over on 5K. Oh my gosh, I just realized I haven't been posting in the links, so I'll go ahead and do that. But yeah, so where's the feet? There you go. Look at that, folks. If you ever were like frustrated because Hasbro's not giving you the sexy feet you've been looking for, here you go. Leave it to Snail Shell to hook you up and help you be complete in life. So this is pretty cool.
It's only like $8 too, I think. So like it's cheap.
That's a trip. Like I don't know what that calculation is, right? Because it's $44 for the figure.
Yeah.
You could raise that to like a $52 figure and throw in the feet. You know what it is? They're trying to identify the freaks is what it is.
They got me.
Yeah, who is that customer? And then
I was actually wondering if it was like an afterthought though, because her pre-order had been up for a little while before the foot pack even was available.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. They're like, hey, somebody at the factory is like, no, we can do feet. Cool, let's do feet. $8. Sweet. No, but in all seriousness, these like the way these things are sculpted and the way they make them move to get these poses, of course they're a little cheesecakey but that's an art right there, right? To get these cool poses and capture the poses. Give me more poses. Let's see. Anyway, that's pretty cool. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I thought she looked good. And I've heard a lot of good things from the Snail Shell. Like, I've seen a lot of the other ones. But when I saw that one, I was like, yep, I'll pick her up. She looks good.
Do you know what's up with the book floating there?
Photography trick, I'm sure.
Okay. I didn't know if there was like a way to do that. I love this. We were just talking. What was that figure that you were sharing yesterday?
Was
that was the
figure of Skira.
Yeah. With the sort of. Yeah, these are cool. I am slowly, for the folks live, I am trying to paste those links in, but I'll jump around as we move through. But here's Lucia. Pre-order on 5K. The full price is $44 plus shipping, and you can add the
it's
$10.
Okay.
Yeah. But the deposit's $2, and okay. Yeah. And so still this is Q3. Cool. I love it, you freaky dude. All right, let's go back to trauma. The trauma of a good model kit. What's this?
It's the Berserk armor model kit. So I haven't been 100% satisfied with the SHF. Like I was telling you, like the other day, like this isn't even his sword. This is a smaller sword.
It was a weird choice,
and it just like, I want him to be able to hold it. I get that it's
right.
big and it's cumbersome, but he should be able to wield it.
Right.
So I'm hoping that this one's a little bit better. And then this one's also a little over 7 inches, so it'll fit in with some of my other figures. So this will be my guts that interacts with the other characters a little more.
And so, but these are posable once all is built, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Still's got that. It is got that classic pose, which is great. Do you know what's going on with the soft goods?
I do not. I'm just a sucker for Berserk, and I was like, okay, like here we go.
Is it one of your favorites, or is it your favorite?
Berserk is my favorite story of all time in any media. The manga specifically.
Wow, beautiful.
Like, yeah. And I've been following it ever since I found it in the late 90s. I told you the other day, like after I finished the anime, I imported like all the manga from Japan, like not even translated. And then I would find translations online so that I could know what was going on and stuff. And I've been following it ever since. I'm hoping to live long enough to see it end, you know, like, but it's had an odd release schedule.
I was telling you that I was just in Japantown on Friday, and they have a Kinokuniya bookstore there, and they've got the big old like collected edition of Berserk, big old sticker on top. Like you don't really see this in a lot of the anime and manga, right? But it says warning. I forget the language, but it says like explicit content, I think, or something like that. And there's a bunch of other books in there that have that, but for some reason, the Berserk has that big old thing.
Yeah. Well, it is like it's crazy. It's like it really is like trauma, like as a story.
Yeah. Don't be like me. Don't show it to your child.
Yeah. I don't have kids, so I don't have to worry about that. Now, see, this part intimidates me a little bit. It's been a while since I put together a model kit that wasn't like the super easy Megatron and Optimus, the Yellow Park. But I used to do the Gundams back in the day, so I think I can figure it out.
I mean, if you take a look at what's going on here, it looks pretty darn straightforward, I think. Because, you know, like pieces will versus like, you know, back in the day, you're like gluing, and I don't think.
No, I think it's
like
all
they snap.
Yeah.
Huh. I might actually go in on this. Do you know the size of this? We're talking true.
7.28 inches is what it said.
Okay.
So I think it's going to fit in like with other toys like pretty well.
What's the have you ever had any of these model kits?
No.
Okay.
Like I said, like I haven't put one together since like Gundams like a long time ago.
Right. Sorry. Do you know okay, I wonder if what the finish is going to look like. But
I hope it looks like that. Otherwise, I'll be a little disappointed. But
All right. Well, there it is. It's a thing. Berserk, the guts armor. So maybe guts-ish. This is just one of those where it's like I know nothing about this game, but I saw this being, you know, shown by Storm Collectibles, and I'm actually I'm totally into Storm. I can't collect them all, but there are figures that they make that are like characters that I absolutely love, and I'm like, oh man, I want those, like the Gotcha Man specifically. And then there's stuff like this where I actually never played this game. It's a fighting game called King of Fighters. I don't believe I've ever played it, but the character looks rad.
They were pretty popular. I mean, they're still like fairly popular. Not as big as Street Fighter, but
is this like a arcade thing? Is this on a certain system?
Arcade. It was on systems. Like the one that I played the most is probably like the Capcom versus SNK, which was King of Fighter characters versus the Capcom characters.
Okay.
But even a few years ago, one of my buddies is like huge into fighting games. He even goes down to Vegas for the Evo, and he doesn't place very high, but he's competitive with it. He plays a lot of fighting games. So
yeah, man, I'm into the overall design of this guy. I love the way storms move. I know a lot of people don't, but I like the way they're constructed. So I don't know. This might be something on there because I'm stupid and pick up random stuff.
He looks cool. I can't tell you anything about the character. Yeah. I recognize King of Fighters, but I don't know who that is. So.
This is what I was wondering. So Joe's saying it was a Neo Geo. Yeah, I remember that old system, but I'm sure they've done modern iterations too. Berserk 69 is the first, once again, at about what are we in? 44 minutes into the live stream. Always the first.
Missed all the Berserk stuff.
Yes, and that's actually perfect. And we got, hey, I don't think I said hi to KJ. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Also a huge fan of Berserk. So Anyway, I don't know much about it. I think it's cool. I love Storm Collectible stuff, and I'm moving on. This one, I'm trying to remember where I saw this from. This might have been on a Toy Migos thing, but I'm a sucker for like just people doing Dio work for sale, right? Like mass production. And it looks like this might be something that's going to be mass produced, but they're sort of like developing it. It's a shipping crate but it's fully modular. So you can and see that he's connecting these LED strips that will light up once magnetized, right? So completing the circuit, which I think is really intriguing. Like what could you do with diodes like this? And was it just last night on the Clubhouse when we were talking about modular playsets?
Yeah, modular castles and stuff.
Yeah, like I think that idea needs to happen.
I've seen like, because I watched like a lot of dio crafting, a lot of times in smaller scale, but there's some people that do like stairs with magnets, and you can like connect them together and then make walls. Like I've been wanting to do a bunch of those for a while, because like with those just basic pieces, you can arrange a lot of different looks and stuff. So might be something I do when I finally get back to crafting. I'm still working on my space, but.
And I can imagine folks who make this stuff, like if you're really looking at the construction of this thing, tooling wise or whatever, especially since it's modular, you could find ways to do this in a fairly not cost prohibitive way. They decided to do weird angles, which is interesting to me. That's not necessarily how I
wonder what the choice is there.
But you know me, it's like I've got Lego brain, and I love this kind of stuff, and I'd love to see more of it, especially as we've like moved into more of this like adult toy collector world of like display as play or photography as play. It seems like having these kinds of things are just, the demand for these are growing. So
yeah, for sure.
Oh, it's interesting. I thought it was cool. Yeah, you can do some cool stuff with that. But let's keep going because we're jamming. We're gonna get to some fake WoW in a second. But before we get to non-WoW, let's go to non-Darkstalkers. This was not at all a game that was on my radar. Is it something that you're familiar with?
I remember them coming out because I think the first one came out when I was still working in a video game store. And I remember Joe Mad because I always liked his art.
Me too.
But I didn't.
I said Darkstalkers. Sorry, Darksiders.
Darksiders. Yes. Okay. Darkstalkers was the fighting it. But these guys are like the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, right? I don't think they ever when they make 2 games and then they finish.
This is Death. Okay. And so I never played the game. Like I haven't been a gamer for a long time. I've sort of just watched it, but I was a big like Madureira fan too. His comic work, right? I had the few issues of Battle Chasers that came out, but also like he did some X-Men stuff. He did Age of Apocalypse stuff back in the day, and I was like, oh, this is cool. It was totally that like influenced by anime manga, but also kind of like new school graffiti style into.
We did some of the Operation Zero Tolerance too, right? That we just got the adaptation of for a couple seconds in the new series.
I think he did. I'm forgetting.
I think he did the Marrow and Spider-Man issue of X-Men, if I remember right.
Did you say Marrow?
Yeah. The chick with like all the bones.
Yeah, the bones and stuff. No, I was totally thinking like, I'm picturing his exaggerated bone work and stuff on it. So anyway, this is him, and that's the horse behind it sort of being teased. But this is a production figure that's sort of like being shown off now by an account overseas, and it's really, really cool looking. It's very Madureira, like super the exaggerated proportions of the body, the sort of the way he moves and the poses and the all that wild detail. I'm not exactly sure. Oh, I think this is showing us the tightness of the joints, right? Like, look, the legs don't move. But I think it's a great looking figure. I'm this is definitely one that I'm gonna sort of pre-order, kind of just because it's cool. Oops, this was meant to be the pre-order page on 5K. Let's see if I can bring that up real quick. But I actually don't know. You know what? I couldn't find it. That's why. And so I don't know where it is. The original pre-order page that was up is gone. So I have to do some digging and didn't do the digging before the show.
I wonder if it's like the Illidan where it's like it's getting ready to come out, or
Yeah, I don't know, but I agree that he's looking really good. And if you look in the background, you can see, yep, the modeling of that horse, which is going to be wild. What's going on, Dorlaxon? Good to see you. And yeah, I who knows with these companies? It's weird, right? That they'll solicit a thing and all of a sudden, like, hey, here's Darksiders, and then you're kind of like wondering, well, will they ever release the rest of it? But man, some of these companies, as we're about to see with the World of Warcraft, they're like, yeah, we're not going to tell you they're coming, but don't worry, they're just going to show up.
Did the Not Pit get taken down off 5K, or was that just it did? I know it got taken off Big Bad, but
yeah, it's not on 5K anymore. Who
I was meaning to check that last week, and I forgot to.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who I was with, but that's the nice thing about, just a quick plug for that document down there, bit.ly/Brick Something News, capital B, capital S, capital News, or that QR code, is I bring it up all the time, and I'll do like a Command F or Control F and just put in a thing, and it takes me right to that. So I don't know, it's a teacher nerd thing. Anyway, this reminded me though, as we were going through this, because it's Kozer Toys. And this is one that I've pre-ordered, and it's still on pre-order. And 5K, like, clearly I love you because I'm constantly showing your stuff here, but I kind of hate you too, because the communication sucks. And I'm going to say it now because you've had like way too many chances. I've tried to send you emails and we've gone back and forth. They still haven't fixed my, what is it, Star Arc or whatever? That one.
Oh yeah, I don't think it's Star Arc, Star something, maybe Star Studio, or
yeah.
I know what you're talking about, the Not Garage.
And like, so whatever. So we're in this awkward relationship, and that's fine. They're not sending me toys to review, none of that. But I'm just gonna like straight up try to communicate with y'all, and it's the worst. And like, people know this. People talk about it all the time. That said, this figure has been on pre-order for a while. This is based on Attack on Titan, and just to kind of show you, this is what it's meant to be. It's the Armored Titan. Bigger figure, meant to be like 7.5 inches, I believe. They also did an Eren Titan, the main Titan from the show. Again, recent anime. If you're not familiar, it's a trip. But this was on pre-order of like, geez, I don't even know how long ago. But this is the ETA.
Oh wow!
So. No word. And the thing is, when I say that, like, I'm not one of these folks saying like, oh, they're cheating us, and no, because it's not. Usually what happens is, you're like, hey, where is it? And then you'll forget about it. You might be frustrated, cancel your order, whatever. And then it'll show up like someday.
Well, like that Illidan one, I'd had that on pre-order for quite a while. And
right.
It's like, okay. And then, here it is.
So I'm putting this out in the ether, man. What's that?
You had me going panic because you're like, it got taken down, and I was like, oh shit, what happened?
Yeah, because I couldn't find it anymore. I was like, dude, where's my second link? I'm gonna that's the funny thing. It's so funny, this relationship with 5K. Hey guys, I want to give you my money, but anyway, this thing, it's still up. I have my deposit in for $10, and again, these things this is just sort of the nature of the game for now, I suppose. But I'm just spending time to I'm not chastising them, and like, because I know they're going to make good, but like, maybe I've found that this is the only kind of way where they'll respond. Like, I've put posts on Instagram to other things. They've basically shadow banned me and like reported me to Instagram at times. And then finally I'll get in touch, and then they're like, oh yeah, no, here. And
meanwhile, you still pre-ordering stuff and giving them money.
Yep. Not a smart guy. Okay. But anyways, if this is something you're curious about, did anybody else here, I'm curious, that's in the live right now, order this toy or any of the others? So let me know. And this is the not armored Titan, if you know what I'm talking about. But let's see. It's been about a year so far with just this character. Yeah. Bummer about the not pit. They tried to give the pit a nose that they tried to like do this sort of funny thing to kind of avoid copyright infringement. And Bud is in the house, and Ray has Death on pre-order since last
Gotta
summer.
get up for 1 second, but I'll be right back.
Yeah. Handle it. Okay. We're going to go ahead and move through because we want to get to some not wow. Let's talk a little bit about a show that's happening right now and kind of finishing up in Texas, Houston, actually, Comic Palooza. A bunch of folks are out there, including some of my favorites, Savage Crucible, as you're seeing here, Creative Beast Studios there. Forgetting if the Horsemen are there, I'm not sure. But Animal Warriors of the Kingdom are there, Spiro's out there. But I wanted to highlight some of the Savage Crucible stuff. One, because obviously their figures are now dropping and they're getting the attention that they deserve because these figures are dope. They're not without their little issues, but like it's brand new toys from a brand new company, and I think they're in a great place for being a brand new release. So they did a Kickstarter. And they did their Kickstarter in waves, and they're now finally arriving. Wave 1 is in people's hands. Wave 2 is coming, and then followed by Wave 3, which was covered. And I just wanted to share that at the show, this is from Nikki Nicole, who's working on the line, did a lot of the Paint Master work. She shared this of Jaeger, a Wave 2 figure. This was available to check out, to look at. The Savage Crucible table. I think it's looking fantastic. No surprise based on her work and her track record that the Paint Master looks amazing.
Yeah, this is one of the ones I ordered. I didn't get anything out of the first wave on the Kickstarter, but this is one of the ones I got.
Yeah, this and it's got new pieces, right? From what I remember being solicited. I don't remember the hair. I remember the hooded version, so it's kind of cool to see that coming. Again, the translations of what Nikki and other folks like Eric Miller who worked on the Paint Masters, seeing that translated to the production figs on Wave 1 is fantastic. So I have a lot of confidence that it's going to look just as good as what we're seeing here. Yeah, man. It still amazes me to think of like where you and I, the kinds of toys that we were growing up with that factories are producing to now and what they can do. There's that hooded head that I was talking about. It looks so good.
Those got 3 heads, huh?
Mm-hmm. The short-haired version and this cool 90s Viking version. You're smiling because you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I think it's great looking. And then here's some of the other. This is from I'm forgetting. Well, we're going to look at him in a second and the names there. This guy back here, like North Shorn or something. But great looking work.
Yeah.
And all this stuff, man. So I'm excited. These are going to be the Wave 2 figures. These will be shipping next. I should share that link to people. And this is the Who Man. This is via Storm Collector's shots from the show. The Storm Collector, that is. This is sort of the main character that you follow in the graphic novel. He's called Who Man.
I kind of wish I had picked this one too, but I didn't. But that's all right.
Yeah, he's a cool looking thing. I mean, my thing is that because of He-Man, because of even like Beastmaster, it's like, there's only so many like blonde dudes with the same haircut. Like we were just looking at Icarus, right? Or Kazar, right? And it's just like that after a while, it's like, oh, they start to look a little bit, what's the word? Like a little monotone, I guess, or just like monotonous is probably the better way of saying it.
Yeah.
But
But since he's the main character, I do kind of wish I had picked him up. But I didn't. I went with the ball and chain, Warrior, Jaeger, and then the what's the one guy?
Oh no, not this.
I can't think of his name. But the
Krieger?
No, it's the tentacle faced guy.
Yeah. The Harbinger.
Yeah.
So this is Nashorn, the Disinherited. And you can't hear the Wherever I May Roam happening right now, but
that's probably for the best.
Another great, this line is very 90s, right? You got 90s Metallica. That Who Man guy is literally a dude from the 90s with a Nirvana t-shirt that gets transported into the world of Savage Crucible. Anyway, this is Nashorn, the Disinherited. Really cool looking paints. This is not one that I went for from the Kickstarter, but it's not because I didn't think it would turn out cool. Clearly it looks great. I just, I did at that time had to do a little bit more limited than I would have liked on my order. I don't know if you can spot down here the hand, the sort of middle finger hands.
That was the other thing. That was the Barbarian pack because it came with middle fingers.
Yeah, flesh tone ones, right?
Yeah.
So these are cool. It's cool to see that these are all, being shown at the show. And then this is a Wave 3 figure, the Piranoids, the Fathom Scout. This was like, when I saw this, I was like, yes.
See, I didn't get these guys, but I probably will pick a couple of them up too.
And this is one that Nikki worked on. And the plastic is actually translucent with the blue coloring on top. So it's got this really cool, like fish-like, deep sea fish kind of look. You can kind of see it here. So yeah. I love it. Rick, I need the pictures. We need to see Rick with that hairstyle. No, I did too, man. I think I had more of the, I don't know if you're referring to the Who Man style or the 90s Viking, but I had that style in the late 2000s. So yeah. And yeah, see, Allison, you know what I'm talking about. Rick is in fact an actual barbarian, and yeah, everything in this thing does look really cool. I'm not sure if you're talking about Nashorn or even Who Man. He does look cool. Let's see, Curse. Oh, that would have been probably Nashorn. Everything that Savage is doing is really, really cool. They know what's going on. Jaeger definitely looks leonine for sure. And so this is interesting. KJ's saying that BBTS canceled Pit because they don't sell stolen IPs. Then why do they put it on pre-order in the first place? That's just whatever. So maybe that might be the case.
No.
So wait, do they sell Cyberzoic War? Oh, never mind.
They do.
Yo, that's about as close as I'll get to being super negative. At that same show, Cyberzoic folks were there. And I am, as you know, really into this line and I'm super excited. Cyberzoic. Let me get this on here. At Comic Palooza. I'm multitasking. It's a thing. So kind of cool that they were there, but more important to me, at least, was the stuff that they were sharing on Instagram this week, including this Smilodon. I love this. This is what Adam was talking about on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Throwing shade on that. What's his name? Shabu? Is that his name?
Zabu.
Zabu. Yeah, sorry. Shabu is a drug in the Philippines, but Zabu. And, it's a different deal. This is like 100% based on current science, meant to be as accurate as possible, like building on that Beast of the Mesozoic style. I believe this was meant to be its own line at one point, the actual more accurate one called Beasts of the Cenozoic era. But they worked it into Cyberzoic as well. So clever reuse, but Chris was having fun posing this thing up. It give you a sense of the articulation on this thing. It looks a lot of fun.
Yeah, he looks fun.
So, and this is 112. I don't know the size, so I actually kind of like got shy on my Cyberzoic order and paused on this thing mainly because I just didn't know what size it was going to be because their figures are smaller, right? I just didn't know how this would translate. So I will say that this is coming both in Cyberzoic. It's meant to be like a brownish gold. And then there's an all black one coming to the Beasts of the Mesozoic / Beasts of the Cenozoic line. So good stuff. They also updated their Kickstarter, and there's my dragon. Love this Arctic dragon. But they all, yeah. Sorry, I didn't cut you off. But he's going to be?
I just said he's going to be cool. Like I'm looking forward to him.
Did you order too?
Yeah, this was the only thing I got from that Kickstarter. I mean, I say it's the only thing I got, but that's a good chunk of money in one figure. So
it is, but it's not one figure. It's a big, gigantic figure. So yeah. This is what I tell myself. Yes, it was $200, but like how many? I don't know. Take any figure, even some of the more expensive figures. Those May Show movie realization Bandai figures. Like take what, 2 of those or 1 1/4 of those. Still is not even close to the level of engineering and plastic involved in this thing. So, and paint.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to make you and me feel better, man. It's money.
I've come to terms with it. I already spent the money. I'm just waiting for it to come in now, you know?
And so if you take a look at this update, this is, I think, update number 29 or so on their Kickstarter. It has all the things that I showed you as well as some packaging shots. So here's some of the other dinos, which are really, really cool. I have basically the version of this one that with a slightly different head and ruffle, same construction. So I can attest that they're beautiful toys. And then you can kind of see all the cool tech stuff that they're working on in this line. This thing, if you don't remember, if you're not familiar with this line, this thing that's this armor on this dino's back is actually a transforming little robot that'll turn into like a 4-legged cat-like robot creature itself. So, and then more production art. This is stuff that's actually going to be on the packaging. So, you know me, I love to highlight the indie creators, especially the ones that are just doing some dope stuff. Whether it's like giving us cool art to like wrap our heads around, or cool toys and just stepping up the game. So, by the way, this is a statue. Okay. So McFarlane, no, sorry, it's been an ongoing thing. Yeah. What were you gonna say?
I don't know, but I was just thinking right now how cool it would be if like Toy Aisles actually had like a pre-order kiosk that like splashed like art and like shots of toys, like so you can see stuff.
I agree, because then not everyone's like dorky like you and I and the audience. No offense, dorks in the audience, but like they're not on YouTube watching this stuff. But you could even like take this show or anything else and just like if you had a screen in there to give people a sense of what's available. But obviously that's not going to happen to a big box retailer because they're not going to sell this stuff. I mean, come on, look at this thing.
Yeah.
Just a couple of seconds and we have completely validated our life choices to spend $200 on this. So, and by the way, I was wrong. Apparently, Ray is saying that it is still on there. So there you go. This is why the community works, because Brick don't know nothing. Brick don't know shit about the pit. So it's still available. So fantastic. It didn't cancel it and other great. So it's still available. It's around. KJ is just saying BBTS doesn't want to take it because in this one case, they care about copyright. No. Yeah. So let's go ahead and move on. But first, let's say hello to the Wholesome Warlock. What's going on, PGG? Okay, moving on. This thing's gorgeous, though. Check it out. All right, moving on. RZA. Super7 haters. Get out of here. Because who else is going to give me a Bobby Digital action figure that's going to hang out next to my Thundercats and my Mythic Legions? Nobody except for Super7, at least right now. So I'm stoked on this guy, and this is definitely one that it's like I'm not a pre-order guy anymore on Super7, But for something like this, where it's kind of a question mark as to whether or not it might get made, I have pre-ordered it. So, and the reason being is I live right next to the San Francisco store, so I often will just walk in and I like to see stuff first. But something like this, like I want to support them in making the effort to make these kinds of figures. Did you listen at all to any Wu-Tang or RZA?
Yeah, I listen to Wu-Tang. I have no idea what this is though. Like what I'm looking at. I mean, I recognize the Wu-Tang logo, but
yep. So this is his concept solo album. Oh man, I want to zoom in so bad. There you go. I guess that's the closest I can do. But if you take a look at that album cover, it's definitely like old, like blaxploitation film posters, but done by none other than Bill Sienkiewicz of Marvel Comics fame. My favorite comic artist, like his stuff on New Mutants back in the day, just like blew me away. Yeah. And so, RZA being like a massive comic book fan was like, I need a Sienkiewicz poster.
Yeah, I've never seen that. That's actually really cool. And to get an action figure of it, that's rad.
Yep. And so he's meant to be like a superhero sci-fi with a little bit of post-apocalyptic flair in there, hero. So yeah, this is a no-brainer, right? Like I've hummed and hawed about getting like that Cliff Burton, which I think is a great figure on my shelf, but he's just like, he doesn't fit. Like if I threw him in there, it's just like that dude from Stranger Things going into the, fighting those
demons. Give him some armor pieces and a nice cape, make him like your heavy metal bard. Like,
sure.
You probably make him work.
With his denim jacket and denim jeans. I totally make it work. But this thing like slots right in, no problem. It's just too cool. So there's that. And continuing on the, pissing off the Super7 haters, man, I love the worst. Like this is one of my favorite lines. And so they just announced this week that they're doing repaints of the Robot Reaper. That's this guy here, and the Black Falcon. And the Robot Reaper made it to my best of list last year. I remember that. And so they're doing this, which is like like an icy version with some translucent pieces. Apparently, there's like a run on transparent / translucent plastic right now because everybody's doing them. So I actually have Black Falcon, and I know I just like gushed over how I love the sign, which I do. I've played with them in the store, but I never opened mine, so I need to. But if you're a fan of the Grim Reaper done as a robot assassin with multiple heads and a Game Boy and a floppy disk drive that goes into the back of his head, this figure's made just for you. And if you're a fan of a, skull medieval knight dude with a lunchbox, this guy's also for you. But these colors are cool, and they look even better in real life. So the cool thing about these is these were like in stock drops. They just made them and they're available in the stores. This is from the San Diego store. And I think he looks even better there because, it's like the weird rendering with the effects. Do I need a second version? Generally, no. Do I want these versions? Yeah, I kind of do. But jury's still out. Actually, the jury's pretty in on the Black Falcon, but
he looks good.
Yeah, and they don't move the best. I know this. I'm actually really surprised by that Robot Reaper. He moves pretty well and in unique ways, including like this weird like robot like knee going backwards kind of vibe. But anyway, they're weird toys. I want to highlight them. This is like, to me, a Super7 at its best when they're doing the worst. You can kind of see all the stuff that they come with. Look at that transparent action. Oh, come on now. And the alt heads are really cool. And so actually I'm looking at this. He comes with 3 alt heads and this only has 2. So that's interesting. I don't know what's going on with that.
Maybe they just didn't make one of them.
Yeah, I guess they just didn't make one of them. But that's the head with the disk drive in the back. And then here is the Hellfire. Oh yeah, you know what? It definitely these don't have a lot of the same things. He doesn't come with the lunchbox, or I think there was a thermos too. But check that out, man. That is
It
just
was good.
cool. Yeah, he's got the, he's got the X-Men thing here. All right, moving on. Okay, so this is what you and I we're kind of planning on talking about, because you and I have been. Do you have your Illidan anywhere nearby?
I can grab it. It's like just right over here. I'll be right back.
Yeah, let's talk that real quick. I just unboxed this guy. So he is based on a World of Warcraft character named Illidan, and I don't have his giant wings on him at the moment. But man, can I just say that when people give you the option to plug in these holes and give you a nice, like, these plugs are even painted. I just shot a what will be an unbox something of this figure and a short. I'm absolutely in love with this. This might be one of the BEST of the year potentially. What were your thoughts on this guy? Look at, yeah, you got
Yeah, I got the wings on.
wings
I
on.
love the wings. Like they're so nice. Yeah. I do have two gripes, right? Like I can't get his head to go as far back as I would like because of the wings, and then the not having a swivel at the hoof feels like a mistake. But other than that, he's like perfect. Like he looks super cool. Comes with his warglaives. You get
warglaives. Thank you.
That activates his lights.
Check that out.
And you get some extra hands. You get some spell effects. I don't have all this stuff with me, but he's good. Like he's got good motion on that. Or what are they called? Anyway, he moves good. He looks good. Yeah.
You're talking about the arms, the butterfly?
Yeah. Butterfly. That was the word I couldn't think of.
I love this butterfly, and the rotation on it is so cool. Like, it just moves so well. And yeah, no, this is a true butterfly, unlike that Veteran Williams I just unboxed. But it's cool. Yeah, I love it. But so the thing is, let's go ahead and well, I don't have Illidan. Let me take this out for a second. So part of the deal is you're big into actual World of Warcraft. Yeah, for background, I've never played World of Warcraft. Probably a smart choice on my part, but I played Warcraft, right? Warcraft 2 especially. I remember being hardcore into that, and so I didn't actually get to see this character. But this Illidan, he was in
Warcraft 3.
He's 3, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So you know these characters pretty well, and so for you, I'm curious, what does this actually translate? Did they do anything that is sort of like?
No, like he's straight up Illidan, like
straight up copyright infringement.
Yeah. I mean, he is Illidan. Like even like the details here, his tattoos, like he's straight up just Illidan. Like the Skull Gul'dan, like is what he got his powers from. When you walk up in him in the raid in Warcraft, he's like the picture I took the other day where he's like holding the skull and it's like on the moonlight and whatever. That is straight up like when you go in to fight him, he's like looking at the skull and that's the background you see. Because I took it right out of the game.
So do his eyes light up?
Yeah, I mean he's got the fell energy, which is the green energy from demons and stuff. Yeah, he's right out of the game.
So us holding these up is one to show the quality of these things. So this is by a company called Hero Toys that may or may not be associated with another toy company called Memory Toys, because whenever they sort of like show things in the studio, they're always like from the same account and they don't really, make a clear distinction. So it's a question mark, but I've heard people say that. I haven't confirmed it myself. But the quality's there, but it's completely unlicensed, right? So they don't have a license from Blizzard to do. So this will not be sold on BBTS, apparently. But man, this is not the only thing, right? So we're like in the midst of like a World of Warcraft action figure like explosion.
Yeah, it's a good time to be a fan. Well, I don't know how the game is these days because I haven't played it in a while, but
Okay.
it's a good time for toy fans of World of Warcraft for sure.
And the nice thing about this property is that, man, it's just filled with all sorts of species, right? Including the pandarin. And so this guy was solicited just a couple of weeks ago, right? About a month ago. And
Yeah.
so again, completely unlicensed. So this is listed as a Memory Toys figure. And again, that thing that we just showed you was Hero Toys. I have a Memory Toys, the bears that are not associated with World of Warcraft, but do I have a Memory Toys orc? I don't, but you have some Memory Toys orcs as well, don't you?
Yeah.
Or those?
Is
You
the
don't have
red
to bring
guy
them up.
Memory Toys?
So funny.
I don't
man.
remember if he's. I think he is. I think he's Memory. And then my thrall is Mithril Studios, and then the Garrosh and Grom are Star Studios or whatever.
Yeah, man. And the reason we wanted to bring this up is because, it's a trip to think that these are unlicensed toys by these companies overseas who, again, will just sort of drop it on Instagram and then announce a pre-order on sites like 5K. And they just sort of, they'll be produced and they're completely unlicensed. So I want to acknowledge that. But the challenge is we haven't gotten action figures for World of Warcraft. We've gotten statues that, because McFarlane has the license, right? And they're not statues. I'm sorry. My bad. They are posed
figures.
Yes, they're posed action figures. And so based on, it's funny. I don't know why he didn't do digital ones since World of Warcraft is such a digital property.
Well, you can't fidget with them if they're posed action figures.
Oh, okay. So McFarlane has the license. Other folks don't. And these are the quality of toys that you just sort of saw that are being made. Full on soft goods for this guy. And I'm just going to I wanted to sort of show people and give you kind of a survey of what's out there. If you haven't been paying attention. So these are all just like the cool things that will come with this. You described what came with Illidan, like very similar level of loadout for this character. This character has a name. Does he have?
It's based off Chen Stormstout, but he's the coloring's a little bit different.
Okay, so in this case there is some differences. They're calling him Panda Master Wu Qing Li. But so as far as you know, this isn't necessarily one that's an actual like.
It could just be like a random Pandaren monk too.
Okay. So he looks great. And I look at all this stuff, like even just in my collection, to get like some of these bits and bobs, like that little dragon is cool. This jade bracelet and man, the little tea set would be fantastic. So this is the thing. And moving on, like, and you'll see it just kind of keeps going. These are all, again, unlicensed toys. Same company, taking a Pandarin, but a fully armored one. What's the deal? These are also in the game? Because again, you're my connection.
Set, I want to say it's one of the Hunter sets, but there's so many armor pieces. But it reminds me of like one of the Hunter PvP sets.
So totally, for folks who don't know, including myself, I know what PvP is, but when you say Hunter set, is that sort of a
Hunter is a class in the game?
Got it.
Usually ranged, but now they have a melee spec with a pet or without a pet, depending on like if you're marksman, you probably aren't using a pet because you get a damage boost if you don't have your pet out. But if you're beastmaster, you focus on the pet, you get an extra pet. And then if you're survival, you're melee and you have a pet.
Yeah. And I'm looking at these. It's wild. Like, just this is gonna. I mean, I'm looking at this thing and I'm assuming that this is almost like production but maybe not. This could still be a prototype, but it looks to me pretty damn final.
They showed this one like quite a while ago, though.
They did.
So it wouldn't surprise me if it's close to being out.
Yeah, and so like I'm with you, Ray. Like sometimes I'm just like, man, I want all these things, and but This is the tricky thing about this is they're unlicensed, and it's blowing me away that one, we're getting all these figures from a couple different companies. We've only shown you maybe one, maybe two companies right now, Hero Toys, Memory Toys. It remains to be completely confirmed that it's the same company. But there's several companies doing things from World of Warcraft right now without the license, while McFarlane sort of has it. And the quality of these are just like superb. Like it's some really great toys that are like pushing the game.
That's another thing, like with this figure and the orcs, like a lot of imports to me feel kind of fragile. They don't feel solid like a toy. These feel solid. Like, I mean, I know you said you had an issue with the horn, right? Like,
I did. So yeah, full disclosure, this horn actually became unglued, and I did glue it back on. But it's, this sort of softer plastic or whatever, which I think like those decisions like that, I know it's funny for me to say, hey, it came off, but I glued it. But like decisions like this thing will not break because of the use of plastic. Like there's a lot of really smart decisions being made on these figures. Not to mention the light up head, like that whole mechanism is dope. So again, we'll just keep going with all the different things that are available. Again, just sort of showing you, man, this stuff, it just keeps going. We've got, oh yeah, here's Memory Toys account. You can kind of see stuff. Let's just go into it. This was one of the first, what are they called? Edens? Is that right?
Edens are slightly bigger creature that have two heads in Warcraft. This is an ogre. Oh. The ogres have two heads. Some have one heads.
Right on. Okay, I totally got that wrong. So these are just a two-headed ogre?
Yeah.
So this was like one of the early ones that they shared. So a little bit different colorway, but you can see all the intended like different hands, again from Memory Toys. And I want to say,
you probably would have ran into this guy in Warcraft too, right? Cho'Gall, who's based off of
the hero. No, do they call them heroes for the ogre? Do they?
I don't think
Heroes legendary
3, but it was one of the characters that was
that came up and told a story. And
he's like one side's a mage, the other side's a warrior. But me and my buddy there's in Heroes of the Storm, which is another Blizzard game where it takes like characters from all the properties and does like the tower defense or whatever. He was a character, and one side like you could play as two people with one body, so like the warrior would steer and the mage could like lob spells. Like he was a super fun character to play in 2 players, even though it was a little weird because you had 2 people in one lane sometimes, which wasn't always optimal.
But look at and again, this company is like, we're gonna make these unlicensed toys, and it's not like, man, when I was growing up and people would do unlicensed stuff or knockoffs, it was just kind of like, let's get in, let's go quick, cheap and dirty, crappy photos, whatever. Like this is like they're posing them up. They're giving us like fully like, here's the unclothed version. And I'm respecting it. Like this is no different quality wise in terms of their marketing, and what they're showing is like what the 4 Horsemen would do, who like I fully respect and just love what they do. Top quality all the time, where they're like environmental shots, right? And then they'll show us the photos of the figures. And so I don't know. To me, it's an interesting sign of where we're at in this collectibles game of like company seemingly coming out of nowhere, doing unlicensed properties and doing it really, really well.
Yeah. And you could tell like they're like fans. Like they're like, let's make this. This is super cool. Like and make it as good as they can possibly make it. So
amazing. And so then they've got even little figures. These are the Murlocs.
So cute.
So these guys I didn't really know about. These are much later. This is World of Warcraft stuff, yeah?
Yeah. So the regular Murlocs are just kind of like anytime you're near water, these guys are going to be dicks. They're going to travel in packs and they're going to just like swarm you with annoyance. But the baby ones, at the first BlizzCon, they gave you a pet, and it was a little baby Murky, which is this guy. And then
you say pet, like in game, right?
Yeah, like non-combat pet. Just a little guy to follow you around or whatever. Now you can Pokemon with him. But it was this guy, super cute version of the Murloc.
And again, like you said, they're clearly fans and they're aware of these little things, and they're like, "Hey, do they come with like this kind of
There's a
stuff?"
bunch of different versions of them. I think the chef hat is a nod to one of the dungeons where you fight one and he's a cook. So like, yeah, because you can get a bunch of different versions of those now. Like they have a bunch of different pets and stuff.
And so this is Hero Toys, which is the same brand as the Illidan that we were showing, or the Demon Killer. We forgot to mention that even that comes with like this little figure, and it just reminded me of this sort of small form factor. And at first I was like, oh, that's a cute little statue or posed figure or whatever we're using. But then I realized like, no, he's got some like articulation in this thing, not to mention that he lights up when you touch that skull of Golgan. Am I saying that right?
Yeah. That was another character I didn't link to you that would be cool. They made a toy of him when the movie came out, but it'd be cool to see like a new version of Gul'dan.
Gul'dan. Oh, that movie. I just rewatched it not too long ago. But these are cool. Like all the personality. I'm reminded of like the Plunderlings, right? But like there's a little bit more going on. I think these eyes move, I want to say.
It looks like they do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if it said they do specifically or not.
So these were
these though.
I was gonna say. So everything that I've shown so far, have you been jumping on?
So the pandas, I didn't order either of those pandas. Actually, I don't think the one in the male armor is up, but I didn't order that one panda because the Maestro Union Panda Brothers, I already have on pre-order. So I'm just like, those are going to be my pandas. And they look like really good. So
they do. But not World of Warcraft though. So here's the memory toys, dude. Now they're getting into the bears, right? This is funny. This came out not too long after the Rising Suns announcement by Four Horsemen with their big bear. Definitely like, same kind of thing. Big old bear. I still think for me at least, the Four Horsemen one is cooler looking. But if you're into World of Warcraft and want this armor, like it's a no-brainer to me. I think this thing looks
I'll probably get that. The Imani Warbear was like a challenge mode, like you had to do a dungeon in a certain amount of time. Like, so like, I think it was like there was people being held hostage, and if you didn't get to the bosses in a quick enough time, they got killed, and you had to like rescue them. And it's been a while, but
here, real shout out, buddy. Bud, what's going on? Zul Aman Bear, Wraith Mace, good to see you. Also big into WoWs and liking those Murlocs. How tall are the Murlocs? They're like three something inches.
Yeah, they're not too big, but there are the regular Murlocs that have been shown too.
And they're meant to be in scale with them,
with
the characters. What's up? No Chewing, good to see you. Hello. KJ's got the red one from Memory Toys, which might be the same one as you.
Yeah, Bounty Hunter orc they did, I think.
But look at this, man, and you get these orcs are not small either. Right, so these are big things sitting on top of a. That's going to be a big old bear, and they showed this bear before, like prototypes. I don't know if this was meant to be the exact same one, but the main reason I wanted to show this was because what is that?
Yeah,
right
in the back.
So they got torrents. Like the point is, like this stuff is being made, and it trips me out to see. Right, like why did the pit? I guess maybe they're more protective. Like that's what I can't imagine. Like the pit is being protected more in terms of its copyright than Blizzard. It's just surprising to me. I would have figured that, and I'm not trying to like
if I was Blizzard,
ruin it for anyone, but
I would just like be like, hey, you guys want the license? And like
work it's so damn good.
Yeah, it's like okay, like, but who knows what their actual business practice is.
Yeah, it's pretty wild because these things are fantastic. Look at that. It's funny. He looks like a marshmallow that got burned. And I'm wondering actually if that was some kind of thing happening here. I don't know if that's paint or what. Maybe just so they could see the sculpt details. But it looks really cool. And basically the not WoW thing is wild. Just to move us a little quicker. You don't have this, but I do. Right?
Yeah, I didn't pick up this one. I ordered the other Blade Master, which is a little closer to the Warcraft. This one, yeah.
Right. So Yeah, the funny thing is you've got multiple companies who are kind of making the same-ish characters, but different versions of the characters. Am I right that this one is a little bit more, the one that's on screen is a little bit more like Warcraft, and then this one's more World of Warcraft, or the other way around?
This one is like more the classic Blade Master, whereas yours
Yeah.
is like the Blade Master with some samurai stuff, which
Oh,
is
okay.
cool because, like, you know, you can in Warcraft you can make your own armor, like you know, like mix and match pieces to make your own sets, and so like ideally what they would do is like they would just start putting out armor packs for these characters.
Right.
Like Ray said,
That's
he wants like a rogue. It's like they could do all the different rogue tier sets. Because like all those characters, like you can take all that stuff off of them if you wanted,
right.
just like the base orc.
Sorry, I'm just grabbing random figures now for the conversation, right? Scale wise, again, these are not small figures.
Yeah,
Oops.
no, they are very large figures.
So, and they move really, really well, which is again just amazing to me. So this is the one that you went after, and again, this is a Hero Toys version versus what I was showing, which was another company called Mithril Action. Also, just want to clarify because a lot of people get confused and they kind of are like, "Oh, they're all the same." They're not the same companies.
Yeah.
These are still available for you. I just kind of want to get through that, and then this was the most one of the more recent ones that was announced. So the I
There's
think her
been a
name is
few recently.
Morna.
Yeah. So her, I think she's just a like I don't know if she has any significance. I think she's just a Blood Elf Death Knight.
Right, not a key character, right? I
Yeah.
looked at this recently with somebody on this. I forget sort of who I was looking at that with. It might have even been No Chewing. And then this is again more orcs, the Orc Commander Elite.
This one is like back in the original Warcraft before any of the expansions. This was the high tier PvP armor for the Horde side. I am really looking forward to this guy.
And you're totally right. Like because of the nature of this brand, just like releasing armor sets, right, and just making things available to people, that would be the way to go. You release like a basic sort of like species body, right, and
Yeah.
then you. All right. So speaking of, and this is we'll close out before we kind of take a look at your stuff. Let's talk a little bit more on the WoW tip. So we've been looking at a bunch of people. Companies kind of like doing their hand at a line. If you were to make figures and tell them like, hey, you need to make these figures, I asked you to like, hey, give me a list. And so let's just take a look at those and imagine, tell us who this is. And just based on what you've sort of seen, are you preferring at this point like a Mithril Action Studios, a Hero Toys / Memory Toys, or does it not
Mithril
matter?
Action and the Hero like are both like super solid, and I guess Memory too. I think they're a little bit better than the Star Studios, although the Star Studios there were like I loved the way they did the shoulder pads on that. So like all of them have been solid. But this is Lady Jaina Proudmoore. She's been around since Warcraft 3. She's a mage. I really like the more modern look for her, where she's got like the different color hair and she's got like the more naval style outfit. I would just like to see more of the main characters and especially some women make it into the line, or not line, but I mean the Blood Elf is the first one we've gotten that was a female, so more of that would be good. And she's a main player consistently from Warcraft, so
I love that you corrected yourself, because yeah, that's a funny thing, right? It's like it's not a line, but yeah.
It's multiple lines, I guess, but
yeah. So that's her. Let's see what else we got going on here. I couldn't quite get your second one open for some reason. It's giving me a weird error. And actually now I'm getting a weird error on the other ones. It might be me. Let's see. Hold on.
The second one was Solanas, Windrunner. I don't know if I could.
Yeah, it's been. Maybe it's because it's a. Here, I got you. Audible. All right.
Yeah, and she's like the leader of the undead, or was the leader of the undead till recently. Stuff has happened, but
Oh
for
man,
a
she
long
would
time.
be amazing as a figure. I could totally see this design, right? And some mix of soft goods maybe for that cape.
Oh yeah,
The cowl. Knowing these, you could do the light up thing again with the head if you have enough room for for a smaller female head. I don't know if they could do that still in the way they did with Illidan, but who
I don't
knows?
see why not. Like, you can make it smaller, one battery in the cavity instead of two. Like, I don't know. It seems like you could do it.
Yeah.
But like, she's a very important character. She looks cool. She's a badass. There's all kinds of effects they could give her to come with. Like, she would just be a really good character.
We've got, who is this?
Karn,
Yes.
Bloodhoof, he was the leader of the Taurens. He's dead now. His son's in his place, but I always liked him a little bit better than his son. But I want a Tauren with the big totem. Like, I need it. Like, I gotta have it.
The big totem behind him, right? They carry it on
Yeah,
his back.
yeah.
Yeah, man, they should. They're really, really cool characters. Let's see. And it's just funny that we haven't gotten good toys of them sooner.
And then Uther, Lightbringer.
He's
I
from
was
the
a
old games,
paladin.
right?
Yeah, I was a paladin for a long time. Like, I started as a druid, and then I switched to a paladin. I played all the classes, but I was always like healers. But paladin was like my main healer for a long time. So I want some paladins, like, and he's cool. Like, he just looks rad.
All right, we probably got time for two more, but you said I was a paladin. It reminded me of I love Joe Gonzalez's line last night. I'm a
So,
wizard on the weekends.
Wizard on the weekends, yeah.
This,
Yeah.
I
I've
need
always loved the
this.
design of the Keeper of the Grove, like centaur night elf with the horns and the nature aspects, and just he's cool. Like, he's just cool.
And it's more of it's not a horse, right? It's more of like an elk or something, like
Yeah,
was on Mononoke earlier.
yeah, and like he's got like the bark skin and the root skin, and like they're really nature based. Very, very cool. And then the dryads too that are around him, like, or his like daughters or whatever. So
That's cool, man. Yeah. So, and the thing is, we're just talking. We're just like, hey, let's check out what could be done. But the reality is, knowing how this not World of Warcraft action figure world has been developing, we could be seeing these, right? They just pop up one day. And this was your sort of special mention. This is the
oh yeah,
the
like,
cold slither of World of Warcraft.
how cool would it be to get like the band, like the level 70 elite Tauren chieftain, with like the set and all the guitars and drums, and like, it would just be amazing.
Yeah, man, these are cool. So are those just people's own characters that they
No,
created?
that's a band, and it's actually like people who worked on the game like play the music, and they show up at the Dark Moon Fair or other like events and stuff.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
yeah.
All righty. I love it, man. And I hope we do get more of these just random drops of just cool characters. What is this? This is I forget the species. These are cool.
Troll. Yeah, one of the
It's
other ones
like-
I included was Vol'jin, just because I would love to see like that version of trolls make it in. And I don't think I've seen anything for that. I've seen an undead, seen the Tauren. I don't think I've seen anybody doing the troll.
Okay. All right. Well, man, I really hope it happens, and I know it's an interest of yours to see those happen. But let's shift gears before we close up for today with That's What's Up. So I sort of mentioned earlier that the Brick Something news wouldn't have happened. Honestly, it wouldn't have. I just wasn't sure, and frankly, way too insecure. I wasn't sure if people cared, and I was like, okay, cool. If Thanos is down, let's do it. And I did it, and we're here, 51 episodes later. So thank you for that. But you've got stuff going on your Instagram, and I think you're kind of more notorious there. And then we'll talk about YouTube. Talk to me about what's going on with you and your journey in toy photography.
So I'm approaching the 2-year mark actually of
Nice.
taking toy photos. So like I just, that's how I play with my toys these days. I mean, sometimes I'm just sitting there posing them, but a lot of times I set them up, take a picture, and I post every day on Instagram. So.
And so that, just so you know, some of his photos are of the more sort of adult nature.
Yes.
And I kind of just quickly glossed over one, so whoopsie. But yeah, that's my channel. And I'm not even talking about anything on here. Anything that's on here right now is just sort of like whatever, illusions. Well, maybe that was a little bit.
Yeah,
but
last week, a little extra,
but no, right there, it's fine. But just in terms of like, talk to folks about that. Like, how was that intended? Because I think some people, I understand why people are sensitive. Yeah. You do this thing called hump days, Wednesdays.
Yeah, so Wednesday is hump day. It started, I got a Fiken doll, and I just took a shot with it. And it was really popular, so I kept doing it. And it's kind of like part of my brand now, I guess. Which is fine, but it is... It's weird because it's like a double-edged sword. Some people really like it, other people are offended. I've lost probably about half the followers that I have now,
Even on Instagram or specifically on YouTube, or both?
On Instagram. YouTube, I don't really. I think I've lost like 1 follower the entire time on YouTube, but I only have like 90 total. So but I don't know. Like, it's just something I started doing. It became something that people kind of expect from me, and it is my reputation now. Even though it's like once a week, sometimes more than once a week, but I don't know. I don't know how to describe it really. It's just something I kind of fell into that,
Yeah,
I know. I enjoy doing it. Like I think some of it is just kind of like if you look at that Hercules and Wolverine, like a lot of people aren't gonna dig that shot at all, but the people who like it really like it. Like, so it's there for them,
Yeah. I mean that's the thing. Is obviously some of it is definitely of the more graphic nature. Others it's really not. And I get it. We all have different sensibilities, so I hope no one is super offended and scarred. Like, well, this is adult collectibles. Like, we're meant to be adults. So I know, I don't mean we're meant to be, meaning like target audience wise, right? All of my videos here and everything on the channel, it's not meant to be, because they ask you, is this content made for children? It's not. Like, this is all adult action figure conversations. Like, I can't imagine kids going like, oh yeah, what are all the different third-party unlicensed World of Warcraft toys coming out of, but it's like, but I get it. People have different sensibilities. That said, I haven't been necessarily like offended or freaked out by anything that there. I genuinely try to be kind of just, a little bit more sex positive and open, but also it's like, I know you're kind of doing it half-heartedly as kind of a laugh as well. So I think people should check it out and consider it. And then if you're not into it, just click away. But on YouTube, you've been doing this cool thing where you're actually documenting your journey, right? Where you've actually gone through since the beginning of your toy photography journey. And, oh, I missed this one. And you've actually sort of done these videos where you recap. Was it week by week, right? Yeah.
Yeah, every Sunday, 7 a.m., I do the corresponding week to the year before. So I'm on episode 38 as of today. So that's 38 weeks worth of things. And there's a couple other videos on there too. Like I did the Naughty November just to be like how to lose followers and alienate people. So there's like that whole month of naughty shots.
Yeah.
So if you want to get a feel for that kind of stuff, that's there. And then there's a couple other things. Like I did, I don't know if you ever saw my Fisto Roboto little clip where it's like, it's not animated, but it's like a picture, and it's done to
like a series
scene from Archer.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. So like there's other stuff on there. And then I have like some ideas for some other stuff I'm going to put on there. It's just time is not my friend lately. Like I'm busy all the time lately. And even when I'm off, like I don't have a lot of time. So,
but you're playing with your toys in your own way and you're making something, you're being creative. And I appreciate it, man. I love it. And you've got great taste in toys as well. You've got all sorts of stuff, a lot of vintage stuff too, that are just like some fun things that like I noticed like, hey, what's that on the back of your shelf? But anyway, man, I think folks, if you're watching this, consider please head over to Thanos Copter, subscribe. Like if you heard him, like, yeah, like we can come on, we got to up that number, subscribe, check it out. And again, if it's not your thing, just remember you're supporting like a fan, a person who's, you know, buying these toys, into these toys, contributing to the conversations. On that note, you are also pretty much like a weekly regular. I haven't been so regular lately over on Ostradamus Toys Clubhouse.
I've missed a few weeks here and there,
but you've been pretty damn regular. So every Saturday night, we like roughly 7:00 p.m. Eastern time, we're over on the Ostradamus Toys channel, and there's a link in the show links for this episode of the news to it, as well as so it's a playlist that I put together on my channel because I realized just today that Oz doesn't have a playlist of this, and he needs to. But if you want to just like hang out and like, you know, maybe want to be in sort of digital company with folks just talking toys and all sorts of stuff, if you want to see me get pretty as close to negative as I can get publicly, at least, you can hear me talk trash about X-Men 97 last night, maybe some McFarlane stuff. And so, and it's like a host of folks coming through. Who are some of the folks that like, it's been a nice revolving door and like almost like different sets of people, right?
Yeah, well, like last night, Ken, Adam, Ed,
Toy Connections, highly
articulated action figures.
Yep. Punk with Toys is there often. He wasn't there last night, but like and sometimes Oz can't run it, so other people will step in and run the show. It's just if you want to just like a quick way to kind of get to know all the people making content about toys on YouTube, it's a cool place to come through and hang out. Allison Troy is on there. Not enough. Where you been, Allison? Silver K, Kayla from GTFO has been on there, and again, also kind of hasn't been around. It's been admittedly like kind of a ridiculous sausage fest lately. So we need to work that out a little bit more. But it's fun. Folks just hanging out, talking toys, talking toy dios. We've got all sorts of creative people on there. So that's my pitch. Head over there. Oz also, if you haven't been to the Ostradamus Toys channel, head over there, subscribe. These are all folks that like basically help me get used to doing this whole YouTube thing and kind of grow what I've been doing over here on the Brick Something channel. So come through and hang out.
I wouldn't be anywhere if it wasn't for Oz. Like, because like I had posted a few pictures on like Reddit, like of the Masters Dio I did, like the original mini comic scene, and then like my Hell Skull and a couple other things. And Oz is like, "Why aren't you on Instagram?" Like he found me over there, and was like, "Why aren't you on Instagram?" So I decided to do Instagram, and I was like, "Well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do at least a picture a day." And here we are almost 2 years later, just because Oz was like, "Hey, do it." And so,
yeah. So head over to Ostradamus Toys channel and subscribe over there. Head over to Thanos Copter's channel and subscribe to that. And yeah, and maybe someday, Cobb, maybe someday, Rick Jones, and we'll end on this note because I do got to get going and enjoy the daylight. We've got some dinner plans, but hey, Rick Jones, I agree with you. Way too many toy dudes. Where are the ladies at? And I'm going to put this out to our fellow toy dudes. Maybe we should think about how we hold space and the things that we talk about, so that maybe women aren't necessarily like feeling super comfortable for whatever reason, you know, just for whatever reason. And maybe it's not their vibe. Maybe literally you creep them out. Maybe it's just they want to talk about
me. They might have seen my pictures and be like, "I do not want anything to do with that guy."
Yeah. So let's see if we can bring those folks in a little bit more. So yeah, we got to get Carol up in the clubhouse more, you know, we got to get folks in. So that's something we really ought to think about because yeah, honestly, from my experience, yeah, the nerddom and the fandom, it's that much better when there's actually all sorts of different people in the room. And right now, like literally, it's like what, 99% dudes, male identified dudes. So that's my pitch. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Later, Ray. great to see you. Thank you so much. Allison Troy is saying you are one of my favorite people on the internet, Thanos. Love it. Absolutely.
She's awesome.
Happy Memorial Day to everybody. Thank you to everybody who has contributed their service. Thank you to the folks we lost, including my grandfather, for what they've done. And I hope that everybody has a great night. I'm going to run to the car and hang out with some folks IRL. Thanos, thank you very much, man. I appreciate you so much. Seriously, we're back here at 51 and we move forward to 100. I'll see you at 101 maybe. All right, folks.
All right.
Everybody have a great week. Good night. I usually play some music, so dun 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 and all that kind of stuff. Woo!